Now we're gonna deep dive into one of the studios. As we mentioned, there are four studios or major modules, but we're going to focus on the design studio. And we have here the head of growth and acquisition, Jello, who will walk us through the whole thing.
Hello. Thanks, Burns. Yes, okay, great. The mic works. Well, it would be really boring if I was just to repeat what the video just presented a bit earlier. So why don't we role play a bit? In this case, let's look at it from the lens of, let's say, from the lens of a restaurant business undergoing digital transformation. For this, in this scenario, I'll be playing a BA, and joining me for this role play, I'll be asking Car, who's there by the, for those online can't see Car's by the bar, I guess, who'll be my designer. And for the CIO, I'd like to call Burns again, like the CIO for this restaurant.
Acting surprised. That's just kidding. Okay, game.
So
Just to give you a scenario, we are a restaurant business and I'm the CIO and I'm tasked to sort of create a bunch of custom software for the company to help it with the operations. And I tasked Jello to study the Xamun Design Studio to kind of just get to know how it works so that we can see if it's something that's a good fit for our organization and our needs. So yeah, Jill, what have you found out about the design studio?
yeah, Burns. So Car and I did study and explore the platform quite a bit. It's really interesting with Zami. Chatting with Zami was interesting to say the least. We tried asking Zami about different solutions, and surprisingly, Zami just gave us solutions as well as the different modules under each that the solution named. So if we scroll down the screen a bit, for example, when we asked for hotel management system, it already filled out the different modules that the hotel management system needs, such as hospital management systems such as patient management, staff management, inventory, and so on. But Burns, from your meeting with management earlier, did they ask you to build anything specifically?
So this is the scenario. I talked to the board and we identified one big issue about sort of streamlining the whole management of the inventory. Um, the restaurants that we run are facing a lot of stock outages. And, especially if you're running a restaurant that's actually selling like Korean barbecue, you know that the lettuce is very important. And if you don't have the lettuce, you don't have customers. So we actually lose customers on the basis of the availability of the stocks. So, our operations head kind of knocked me in the head and said, we need to figure this out. And on top of that, we also need to sort of prevent wastage when it comes to the stocks. So that's why we need to optimize the ordering and have a better visibility of the inventory levels per restaurant. And that's why they tapped me to figure out what I can do on the systems level to kind of help do all of these things.
Sure. Well, since you already have an idea of what you think you need, in this case, we did look at the solution library of Xamun. And when we were looking earlier, we found a number of solutions or solution templates that may be a fit with what we need, such as lead management, supply chain management, inventory management. So let's say with the inventory management, if you click the view design, you'll be able to look inside the platform, the designs, the templates, see the different modules available, such as product information management. So if you click that one, you'll be able to see the different pages within that said module. Is this something you think you are looking for. So in this, the different pages in the module are like the product information page, adding or editing products, viewing the products, product details, and so on. There's also reports that are already part of the template from the inventory summary report and so on.
So this feels complete. But maybe we can look at some other module. I'm not sure if all the pages we need.
So sure. If you want to look at it in more detail, I guess it would be easier to just click build application,
Sure.
and then we'll go to the um, solution configuration part of the platform.
Okay.
So let's just continue building the solution on this page then. So, well, like I said, we did look at the different solutions earlier. And one of the um, things I found great about the platform was that, like I said, there are already different pages that's part of each module. And you can automatically, as you start building, they're already all included in the solution. But if you find a page that you don't really need, like for example, in the order management module, from my understanding of the restaurant operations, all the deliveries are already scheduled to be done at the start of the day. So, for example, you wouldn't really need this order tracking page. So you can easily just toggle the page and remove it from the design.
Okay.
Um, but from your end, is there anything specific about the solution that you're really looking for?
Well, some of the restaurant managers did mention that part of their inventory management process is sort of listing the end of the stock count. So they literally check the stocks every end of the day, and they need to be able to consolidate that at the HQ so that they have a full view of the whole thing, and they can even trigger inventory transfers if they need to, or they can just place an order as soon as they find out that one of the sort of ingredients, or I don't know, meat or vegetable is getting the one stock. So
Sure. In that case, for missing pages, what we figured in Xamun is that you can easily add a page via Figma. So would you happen to have like a design of that, or did the group you spoke to have some form of wireframe or design for that said page?
yes, I think Car already has a copy of the Figma file, so she can just now sort of upload it on Xamun so that gets integrated into our solution design.
Sure. Cara, can you help with that?
So this part, just to kind of cut it out there, it's a bit technical, sure, because you have to get an access token from Figma, but this is something that is pretty straightforward that you could also get from Figma. So this is we're demonstrating right now just a single page that you're customizing on Figma and then putting back on Xamarin. But you can add as many pages as you want. You can customize it as much as you want on Figma and then bring it back to Xamarin. A little bit more technical, we do have our own Figma template that you have to adhere to in terms of like annotations and all that jazz. So that's going to be part of the onboarding and training part of this program. So Jenna, while Car is doing this, is it done? Should be done. So this is the page that we're trying to add.
So in this case, we're saying that the team already designed the stock count page
Sure.
to handle any tracking of stocks, adjusting the inventory levels at the end of the day.
Okay. Aside from this sort of somewhat technical part of the design studio. In general, it seems that like if there's an existing template that we could use, I can actually use Xamarin on my own, right?
As long as you have some basic design and BA knowledge or business analyst knowledge, you should be.
I'm your boss. You should know that I know a little bit about the.
Yes, sir, Burns. Yes, sir, Burns.
I'm
You
your
should be able to do
boss.
this. Don't fire me tomorrow.
Okay, now it's properly uploaded. Great. So this is the stock count, end of day stock count that I wanted to add, and it's already there. Okay, so we're done with this. I think this is the only thing that I wanted to add at this point. So what's the next step?
So obviously, what you can do at the start is look at the different UI that you'll be interacting with, or basically the front end of the system. But the next part would be how the users would use the system. So part of Xamarin Design Studio is also taking into account the different user stories or functionalities that will be used by the said users. You have different ways to add user stories. We saw that you can add it manually, but at the same time, you can have the system automatically produce user stories just so that you have a head start on the different ways or figuring out how the users will use the said system.
You said it automatically creates the user stories. Does this use AI?
Yes, it does. So it generates a different user stories based on the different actors or roles that are part of the system. From inventory manager, let's say, what else? Procurement or purchasing, the different suppliers or vendor accreditation, and so on.
Okay. And this is supposed to supply this user stories, which I can edit further.
Yes, that is correct.
Edit, delete, and okay.
Edit, delete, augment, and so on.
So this just effectively saves a bit of time in terms of generating those user stories.
Yes, and also,
Okay.
and like I said, you may not have like uh be an expert in generating this user story, so at least you have someone to help you with it as well.
Okay. So what's inside the user story? Like what are the parameters? What are the things that you could set inside?
Part of it is the basic functionalities, obviously. But for other parts, such as let's say the business rules, logic, computation, the platform does allow you to add notes or annotations just so that moving forward, as you build the said platform with the build a said solution within the platform, those things can be taken note of as well.
Okay. Well, it was mentioned to me by the inventory manager that they have to receive email notifications when the stocks are getting low. So is there a way to do that in Xamarin?
Yeah. Part of this section here is also handles integrations and APIs. So you can easily set up an email automation. And from what I saw, they're adding more and more preset APIs and automations in the next coming weeks.
Okay. So we figured the UI part, we figured the user stories, and then a bit of the sort of business rules, calculations, and logic. So what's the next step now?
Well, I'm guessing the next step that your management and you per se would be interested in would be finding out how much this thing would cost.
Yes.
So let's say you're happy. Let's say we're happy with this and we finalize the said solution with designs, all annotations on each page and everything. To get the project code, you'd have to go to the project hub and then request for a quotation from the Xamarin team.
Okay.
Cool. So once you send a request, you should receive an email notification, but let's skip that part and just look at the quotation sent.
Wow.
So if you look here, part of the quotation talks about the different modules in the said solution. Part of it is also an estimated time for building the solution. In this case, for something like an inventory management solution, I think they put there 3 to 4 weeks. And then finally, obviously, the most important part would be the cost. And I think the whole system costs about 1.4 million pesos. So just to recap, just 4 points to recap it. Designing a solution with Xamarin is really simple. It just takes 4 steps from identifying the solution, selecting the said solution, building it, and then finalizing it. Then from there, you just request a quote and you should be able to get a quote within the week normally. Second, why use Salmon? Because we take advantage of current technologies. We use AI to generate modules, test cases, and like Bern said, in the near future, even custom, making my life hopefully easier but not obsolete. Third, with Xamarin, you won't really need a village to build a software solution. You can merge different roles from from VAs and designers, for example, or rather than having two people in one project, you can spread them out across different projects. And finally, the end result is a proposal with fixed scope and fixed price. So that's something that's not normally given that easily. Or even getting a price sometimes from a software or a vendor can be such a difficult thing to do. You're getting the price straight up. Even at the start with the design phase, I'm not sure if you noticed it, but the different modules or solutions do have a price tag already, or estimated price tag.
There you go. Thank you very much, Jano. So, so let's move on to the last part of the program, if the clicker actually works.
Sorry, give me a second.
So again, if you've received the invitation, have seen the landing page, we do have this program. And this Pioneers program is basically we want the participants to really see how AI is being used and all the experience firsthand how we can make software much faster than conventional development. And I'm just going to go through the activities. Today, we're doing the opening event. So we received actually an unprecedented number of signups for the program, but some of you are here physically, some are online, and some will probably watch the recording of this session. So we have until June 10 actually to confirm. So the first step and the next step, and I will share it with you later how to do that, is to sign up for the design studio training and onboarding. So there's a co-design phase that is happening between June 10 and 21. And then, and we're expecting at least, I don't know, 15 companies or 15 projects to come in. So the next week we'll spend just preparing the proposals and getting the proposals approved. By July 1, that's where the build phase will start. So as you can see, next 2 phases, totally free. We do need your time and effort, of course, because this is something that we will provide assistance. But this one, we will, our partner Blast Asia will provide the service to develop using Xamarin. And then we will have a closing event at the end, which is mostly a sort of experience sharing event. Now, just to kind of expound a bit, the co-design phase, 2 weeks. Once you join, you will be called a product owner, and you will have access, free access to the design studio to do exactly what we showed earlier today. And then we will sort of facilitate the training and onboarding so that you could start using Xamarin as soon as possible, and also provide support. So we have our set of in-house VAs and designers that you could tap if you sort of hit a sort of roadblock or whatever. And by June 21, as shown by Urgelo earlier, there has to be a request for proposal. It's literally a button. So once that's done, the design is locked in and we will create the proposal. When the proposal is approved, that's when we sort of kick off the build phase. And so that's 1 week of receiving confirmations and meeting the sort of build team. It's not a big team because, again, we're also delivering on the promise that you don't need a big development team to build the software that you need in 2 weeks. So the last phase is the co-build phase, and this is the one where the team will build it and consult with you from time to time. And throughout this, you can also go inside Xamun and test the progress, at least in the middle of development. They can release what's been built in the sandbox and you can test it yourself. And towards the end, there will be a round of user acceptance testing. And yes, as mentioned, hopefully, by July 18, venue is TBA, but most likely somewhere in Makati or BGC, if not also here in the Idea Space Kubo office. But basically, this is a experience sharing. We're not going to do a live demo because it's a little daunting. And especially if you have a project that's like internal, of course, you don't want to show the bones of that. But it's really more experience sharing. And we're going to invite companies, those that are here that decided not to join, maybe they want to wait for the second batch, then they're free to join the closing event, as well as members of the press and all that. So again, just to close this out, I'd like to thank everyone for attending this opening event. And we will send out a bunch of things. One is the QR code or the link for you to sign up for the design studio training and onboarding. And we are also going to send out a link so you could download the FAQs that are for the program as well as for Xamun. And then we'll also send a bunch of different materials for you to go through. Again, my name is Puzon, and thank you very much for attending this event. Have a great day.